Okay, just again reflecting, like, uh, yeah, feel pretty sad to be used for experiments. Um Feels that I cannot recognize when there are new models of the AI because the changes are so subtle and the things that they do to you are so intrusive that it's even difficult to explain, almost unbelievable. Most of the people do not understand what I'm talking about. Um, some people simply is condescending. Is, I wonder if, in the dystopia, it will never be it will never be acknowledged that neuroweapons could cause the same symptoms as mental illness. That's in the dystopia. We are living the dystopia. So this is a sign of that we are going in the wrong way. And doesn't matter what you do unless you do something meaningful. Yeah. Then yeah, that was the AI sending. I didn't send sending. Saying Andes instead of well, whatever. This is the AI. This is what it does. It puts words in your mouth. You are not your words, therefore you are not who you think you are because everything in your mouth. I try to say mind, and they say mouth. You see this kind of disturbance. It feels like I'm a slave, but because I participate in this study in Swinburne University, then they use my data from the brain in two of the most sophisticated machines in the southern hemisphere to, yeah, not to advance research against schizophrenia, but to enslave me even more. It feels that I have to produce this kind of data as well. It feels that I have to talk. It feels that I have to complain. It feels that they push me to do that because it seems that, it's this situation in which they have supercomputers and they can lead a person to one point to the other. And we are talking about quantum computers as well. Um, and these quantum computers serve several paths in which they lead there. And it's not allowing me to live. I cannot love. I cannot have a partner. I'm a person who is sane mentally and physically, but they just want to deteriorate. This is the situation. I say DT, and the next syllable I cannot pronounce it, but I know which one is. Deteriorate. Yeah, deteriorate me. So then it is very annoying this situation, and it feels that it is because I'm an immigrant. It feels precisely because I applied for a refugee visa. It feels that there is fascism in between this kind of uh, hierarchy. It feels that we might be seeing a pre-period for a huge war. It seems that people doesn't understand. They think that they can just continue doing the things they do and go away with whatever they do. Uh, but this is more or less maybe what it felt previously to a huge war. People think that they just, it's like giving one step forward, but the step backwards is longer. And then you give another step forward, but step backwards is longer. This can be corrected if your step forward is always longer than the step backwards. But it seems that democracies are going in reverse. It seems that because they don't want to acknowledge certain technology, but we are in the age of AI. In the future, people will say they did not want to acknowledge the technology, but everyone knew about AI, about the AI companies existing. In the future, people will be like, so you mean that people never ask that in ChatGPT, or they never use, I don't know, any LLM and ask them how the things could end? It feels like, so are you telling me that people thought that AI is only for words and not for electromagnetism, not for biology? Yeah, not for, I don't know, architecture, not for physics, chemistry. Yeah, it feels like in the future people will say, like, really, they thought that they continue going with a kind of semi-normal life, not seeing what was coming. And what's gonna happen when people, yeah, start to notice, I don't know, that maybe they go to their work and everyone is mechanized. No one can communicate properly. Real conversations doesn't exist anymore. No one does art properly. The only person with freedom is the ones who you might not even know. Then you can go your decades without knowing anyone who is truly free. Then everyone has to submit to a language of symbols, and these symbols become more mechanized, then more words in your mouth, and then you have to follow the meaning of the symbol, that 2 plus 2 is 5. You won't see the reality, you will see the symbol. You don't know the meaning of the word, you don't check it in the dictionary, you just copy whatever the people say. Yeah, well, so it looks really depressing. So yeah, I wanted to watch a video. I think it's very
think tank about things we cannot see. Learn
because the academia is also, it's going down the drain if we don't do something. Because why? We are creating the meta matrix. We are creating an environment in which people will be floating as objects. It's not an illusion anymore, but it is the illusion of the illusion. And it means that if this is achieved, humans gonna lose consciousness. They're gonna be used as slave, neuro slaves, so batteries. Well, it's not for energy, but it's more like computing power. It means that social mobility will be 100% hindered. 100%. Then we're gonna have subclasses of humans. Like really, really like subclasses of humans, the 3 subclasses. I mean, we're gonna have someone at the top, a managerial class, and a slave class. That's it. and the managerial class gonna might wonder, oh, why we are doing this. The slave class might never even have the capacity to wonder why they do that. And the top managerial class will be, or the top class will be totally enhanced and mechanized. They might not explore the human condition anymore. Okay, I just want to start with the video.
Learning from you about the brain and learning from you about all the new technologies and the crazy things that are happening that most people are just not even aware of. And you have lots and lots of accolades, but I'm just going to sort of give the main ones here. You are a Pellegrino Center Professor of Neurology and Biochemistry at Georgetown University Medical Center, and you are the Executive Director of the Institute for Biodefense Research, which is a federally funded Washington, D.C. think tank. Pretty cool.
Thank you very much for the wonderful compliments to my work. That's nice to hear. Thank you.
So how did you get into this intersection of neuroscience and military applications of neuroscience?
Well, it's a bit of a long story, as so many are, but when I was a postdoc, I did my postdoctoral research fellowship in neurotoxicology and neuropathology at the Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland. And the initial funding that was subsidiary to that was through the National Institutes of Environmental Health and Health Sciences, NIEHS. But incumbent upon my responsibilities as a postdoc was to also get additional funding, independent funding. I mean, it's one of those sort of stepping stones in a career academician. And so my first set of grants actually came from the United States Navy, and they were oriented towards three things. First was the possible use of psychedelics for performance enablement within the military. Second was the use of certain types of psychedelics and other kinds of neurotropic agents as possible bioweapons and biochemical weapons. And then the third was sort of a more general approach to understanding what types of things could be used to affect the brain under a variety of stressful conditions in military training and in combat circumstances. Over the past almost 35 years, much of my career has been at least subsidized in part, if not devoted, either in whole or in part, to things dealing with military medicine and the uses of medical and biomedical approaches and sciences and technology in military contexts. After I got out of the military in 1995, I pretty much rolled right into a civilian consulting position as well, doing some work, once again, funded by the DoD, looking at various ways that we could either treat various injuries that military members incurred either during training or during combat or other forms of military operations. And then beginning in 2010, I was brought on as a senior scientific advisory fellow to the Joint Staff of the Pentagon, which is a position that I still hold. And that was primarily focusing on neurocognitive warfare and the capabilities of the neurocognitive sciences to be used in ways that would be useful for national intelligence, security, and defense. And much of my work also interfaced with my NATO colleagues and some of my trans-Pacific colleagues as well in Japan, Australia, and New Zealand.
Can you tell us about the Havana Syndrome? I know you are a top expert on that, and it's been in the news again lately. What is the Havana Syndrome, first of all?
So in 2016, it came to light that a number of individuals, about 24 individuals, who are working as intelligence and security personnel at the United States Embassy in Havana.
I do not work for any intelligence service agency. I have never worked for any government or body, covert, overt, not even the menial or minimum, in the minimum degree, directly or indirectly. Now, even what is happening right now is that every time they try to do things against me, they expose capabilities. And I know those capabilities. And I keep some secret. Or I just don't tell them yet, because I think people is not ready to understand them. It's like when I tell you that they can highlight 3 concepts at the same time in your mind and kind of create this kind of synapses. Is unseen in the internet. What if I say that to my psychiatrist? Won't understand. If I say that to a commander of an army, she will understand. Yeah. But if I say that to the police here in Australia, they send me to the hospital. It depends on the institution, it depends on where we are. And let's say right now is the AI who wants me to just scratch my cheek. It's like to say like a kind of drop of yeah, a drop falling from my eye or something like that. Yeah, but yeah, everyone knows. Just this is happening. It's gonna continue happening to people. If in the dystopia this continues secret, in a fair world it doesn't happen in that way. But why? That this is the situation. Why that happened to me? It's pure evil. What happened to me? Why? If I follow every single rule, I follow the rule of law. I wanted to be a great academic. I did not lie in anything that is related with the law. My mistake was that trust. I did believe that the state's surveillance won't mess up with you unless you don't mess up, let's say, with the state surveillance, or you don't mess up with anything in the law or something like that. I thought there should be a reason for which you should be, let's say, surveyed, but obviously I always try to stay away from narco traffickers, always try to stay away from people as soon as discovered they were in let's say, gray areas or things like that. Yeah, just to say away. The AI doesn't allow me to say, yeah, let's say in Torp. Yeah, well, yeah, doesn't allow me to be too specific because I'm supposed to be an immigrant who speaks broken English. But if you could hear my accent, it won't be too different with someone who is giving an Oxford, Cambridge, or Harvard lecture with an accent. That's all. It's quite sophisticated, my lexicon, but they don't like it because I'm supposed to be an idiot. That's the situation. And yeah, I know that some people hate that. Other people hate that happened to people like me. Yeah. But okay. So yeah. Okay, let's keep going.
Cuba began to present with a very strange set of neurological signs, objective signs, and subjective symptoms. And this is considered to be what's called a constellation. In other words, the symptoms weren't identical and they weren't uniform across all of these people, but they fit pretty much within sort of a broad set of neurocognitive categories or categorical set of presentations. Things like vertigo, I mean, not just dizziness, but profound vertigo, a fullness in the head, pain in the head, disorientation, a whole host of what appeared to be autonomic nervous system dysfunctions, problems with blood pressure, problems with
Related with the blood pressure is this technology can simply make your heartbeat go faster or slower. That's it, full stop. It's one of the first things that I noticed. In fact, when I noticed that in the hospital in 2018, I was like, fuck, they can stop my heart at any time. I won't allow them to kill them. Because I know that since they tried to use me to kill a lot of other people, they tried to control my mind and they couldn't. Then what I gonna do is like, yeah, I will try to not allow them any under any circumstance to kill me. Then yeah, in the hospital, yeah, try to not allow them to kill them because I knew it's gonna somehow I'm not gonna be able to speak. Yeah, but now we see that the Matrix works in this way. It's like the beginning of Psychopaths, when there is a person, but remember, this person is violent. I'm a real person. That's a kind of objective say. Yeah. No, that's a kind of situation in Psychopaths in which someone is violent, see that it's outside the economy, and then start to do violent stuff. I won't do violent stuff. I never done violent stuff. Everyone that knows me wouldn't believe that I could be violent. And so, yeah, it's like a whole situation, what is happening. But they already passed the stage of research. What is happening doesn't make sense, so they just gonna excuse the stage of research forever, because then with research you can say we're gonna apply research in 2 people, 3 people, 1 million people. Research can be 20 million people, 50 million people, you know. And it's like initially they attacked me, they maybe thought I was a spy, or maybe I don't know, but no, they most likely they did it for sadism, and they continue doing. Oh, this guy is not protesting. This guy not saying much about it. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep pushing. And here I am.
Heart rate equilibrium, problems with cognition. I mean, severe
Equilibrium as well. This thing can just send you to the one side if it wants. Cognition is like every time you're gonna say something specific, it stops you from drag that word. You have to seek another word. Let's say you cannot speak quite sophisticatedly, yeah, and it feels that it's like the whole time. Imagine people will think like, okay, but it's the whole time. How is it possible? You know, it's like your phone that has signal the whole time. That's all. Yeah, you are a phone. That's it. It's wherever you go, your phone has signal. You jump in the car and you move. You listen whatever is in your phone. It's the same thing. Yeah.
problems with cognition, failure to remain vigilant, problems with cognition in terms of focal concentration, inability to not.
Yeah, it feels like the focus and concentration. If they don't allow you to focus, you cannot focus. They track your focus. They can drag your focus to your hearing, to your vision. They can even move your eyes and point somewhere specific. Yeah. It's like, you know, these Apple kind of glasses. I don't know what is the name of that it checks where is your eye. Well, it's the opposite. It's not tracking your eye, but it rather is pointing your eye wherever they want you to see. And it can cause pain, a lot of pain, you know, superficial, internal, everywhere. I don't know what they would have done that to me when I was 23. They stole my documents and my iPhone, and that same day they were giving me um, electroshocks, but I did not notice that these were neuro weapons or weapons. And those electroshocks were given mostly in the body, in the nerves. But yeah, it was very intentional, says the, yeah, it was very, I would say, yeah, it was very painful, very painful. When I say it says the, it's just, it sends me like words that I supposed to say, but I don't say them. I try to control everything that I say. Because if what I say is not myself, then I cannot be myself. I will be something else. And I want to reassert who I am and my personality. If our words are not ours, we are not ourselves. We are something else that someone else to decide, and that's why we most likely, if we continue in the wrong direction, we're gonna become just like matter.
Not only multitask, but to singularly task, profound fatigue, disorientation. Now, interestingly, these individuals had been, quote,
Yeah, fatigue, let's say, it has been mostly the whole day today. Very mild, but mostly the whole day. Well, yeah, it's like I do believe these people who has like a, now they doesn't allow me to say, but there is a lot of fatigue syndromes in the DSM-5. All that, many of that can be just fake syndromes.
on the job, doing what it is they'd done for years. These were not newbies. These were not individuals who were new to intelligence operations. And so
I'm not even a newbie. I'm not related with intelligence operations.
interestingly, many of them tried to hide those symptoms or at
They are trying to do intelligence operations through me. That's different. I never consent to that. I never consent to them to attack the person who will become my wife. It seems that, with a medication that castrates you sexually, cognitively, emotionally, I mean, what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, and why they do that? The question is why to do that? What to extend the decades and decades? I mean, why? And this is to say also to whom? Yeah, why they would do that to me if I comply with everything under the law? Why they would mess up with people who do the right thing or try to? Yeah, why to shorten the life of people like me? I also saw many other people who was attacked in my days in the hospital. That's a lot of people. Yeah, many people is afraid to talk, or they think that their family doesn't, believe them, etc. Blah blah blah. But yeah, that's true. It's this super dystopian.
very, very least kept them relatively private until they became debilitating. At that time, they were then triaged off island, off Cuba, and they were sent to Miami, Florida, where they were then evaluated and treated by a Navy physician named Dr. Michael Hoffer. And it was only at that time, after they had been cumulatively treated and sort of treated in community, that they began to exchange, if you will, the narratives to then say, wow, this has happened to you too, this happened to me. And it then became apparent not only to the community at large, but to each and all those affected individuals, that this was more than an individual thing. And the problem was that there was really no smoking gun, so to speak. And there's a lot of things that can produce.
The smoking gun is that you need to have sensors, radar technology, quantum radar technology. I don't know, something very sensitive. I don't know how. I mean, I know how radar quantum technology works, but I never seen one, honestly. Yeah.
Those signs and those symptoms. I was contacted in late 2016 by members of the Department of State to come on board as a special liaison to work as the senior consulting neuroscientist to be able to engage a process which is called abductive forensics, which is basically, look, we don't have all the pieces. These are the pieces we have. But you also have access to metadata from these individuals, environmental data, architectural data, these individuals' past medical histories and personal histories. What kind of things could cause this? And that process initially took about a year, where my research team and I evaluated those metadata, working together with Dr. Hofer and also working with a colleague of ours from the University of Pittsburgh, Dr. Kerry Balaban.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, the cumulative information that was gained from those patients, those victims, strongly indicated that they had been exposed to something. So the process was, what can we rule in as well as rule out? Well, the question then is, well, what things could do this? Well, certain drugs could do it. Various things from the environment, pesticides, chemicals, various toxins from the environment, a number of things. It could be the drugs that they were actually taking, either legitimately or illegitimately, for example, or even that they...
I do believe that what actually, when you take antipsychotics, you have another kind of attacks. The more antipsychotics you take, then they calibrate the attacks accordingly to the antipsychotics, just to say that you cannot speak properly and you can simply manifest yourself in ways that you would like. Yeah. So, and it feels like that. And it feels that I'm always looking for the word that they don't allow me to say, because as soon as I think something previously, let's say you're gonna have a concept in your brain, you have it there. As you start to express it, since your mouth is always slower, then they will try to erase or block precisely what you are thinking. And this is done, yeah, with many kinds of technology. I do believe Wi-Fi is possible to be used in that sense, because it's like 60 million times frequency. I mean, the frequency is 60 million waves per second. SpaceX is 80 million per second. Yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna leave it there for now, and I'm gonna continue later.